Hi everyone, I'm Haylee Alexander. I lead the solutions engineering team for Snowflake Data Clean Rooms. And the purpose of this video is to walk through the installation of clean rooms into your Snowflake account. And for those who aren't familiar, Snowflake Clean Rooms is installed via our first-party Snowflake native app, which is how this feature is deployed directly into your Snowflake account or on top of it. And this, of course, ensures that you can securely collaborate without the data ever leaving your account. We're going to come back to our marketplace listing here, but we do have hundreds, if not thousands, of customers using clean rooms. If you think there's a chance it's already been installed, you can just double check that here in Snowsight under applications to see if the native application has already been mounted in your account. Once you're ready, you're really going to want to anchor the install process in our DCR documentation. This is your guide for installation, configuration, and a lot of support along the way. So I would keep this handy, bookmark it if you can, and leverage it to help ensure a smooth installation and clean room journey for you and your partners. Let's head down to the admin section. And before we begin, there are some prereqs to keep in mind before installing the application. And of course, as I mentioned, this is all documented. One, you're going to need an account admin role to install the application. This is a requirement for Snowflake apps. You're also going to want to make sure that you're using an account with the appropriate edition. So if you plan to create a clean room or initiate it, you're going to need at least enterprise and above. If you are just receiving the clean room and are a consumer, as we say, then you can use a standard account. But all accounts that install native applications do need to be capacity and above for data clean rooms specifically to leverage all the rich security features. There's also some more, I would say, technical account and user requirements around authentication, collation, and settings to really bear in mind as you go through. And it's super important to reference this documentation because we don't want you to have any hiccups or encounter any hiccups along the way. And we keep this updated with the latest and greatest. Okay, now that we have reviewed the prereqs, let's go ahead and start the installation process. As I mentioned, make sure your current role is set to account admin or work with someone in your org who has account admin access. And we're going to head over to the Snowflake Data Clean Rooms application listing from the marketplace and start the process there. Once you've hit get from the marketplace, the install and mounting process only takes a few minutes, and you can confirm it again over here in the catalog section under applications to see that it in fact has been installed. Once you click it, you can actually go ahead and launch the application. The next step in the process is to install the APIs, and you can also see it here in the documentation. So we're going to follow these steps to install the API directly here in Snowsight. Okay, let's go ahead and launch the application and start the second part of the process. And now you will see that we are in Snowsight and we are ready to install the APIs. So I have a worksheet open here and we will begin. Okay, before we begin, let's head back and anchor in the documentation. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to run the SQL commands there in Snowsight to install the APIs. If you rename the native app during the install, you're going to want to modify the script that we indicate over here. You can see the script here. I've also selected my warehouse, which you'll need to do. If you want to review the full installation script, you can. Just uncomment here the dry run parameter here, and you can install that prior to installation. This is going to take us several minutes to install, so go ahead and hit run, and that installation process will begin in your account. Okay, the mounting process has completed. You can see that it is completed here. Over on the left-hand side now, you will see a number of objects available in your Snowflake account, the main data clean room native application, the local database. This is the APIs and procedures that power the clean rooms. And then you'll also notice that the Samua app role is now an available role. This role carries out all the procedures inside of Snowflake Data Clean Rooms. Now that the Samua app role is installed with Snowflake Data Clean Rooms, you can grant access to other users in the organization. So now that the account admin has mounted and installed the app, simply granting user access can be done either with the full capabilities of the Samua app role or fewer privileges granted through what we call a consumer run permissions only role. This is basically the ability to, on the consumer side of the clean room, to simply run the analysis of the clean rooms without having full access to all the permissions that the full Samua app role does to build and configure clean rooms. All right, let's move on to the next step, which is actually optional, but it's installing the clean rooms UI. So we have two product environments or two ways to access the clean room. One is through a no-code UI, and one is through just using APIs via Snowsite. So both are available. The UI is optional, and we're going to move on to that step right now. It's great having two product environments for Snowflake Data Clean Rooms because the UI allows you to operate in a no-code environment. This is great for more commercial or business side people who maybe don't have coding experience or just want a point and click environment. There also, clean rooms can be built only with the APIs, or you can build a clean room with an API, customize the template, but then make that template available to configure and run in a no code environment via a UI form for your consumer. So lots of options here as it relates to a more technical or non-technical environment. We're going to go ahead and walk through the steps to enable the clean room UI here. There's also some additional functionality here that's available in the no-click UI that's not available in APIs, like third-party activation endpoints. There are some predefined templates that we'll walk through in later sessions, and you can also schedule the analysis and queries to be run. So first and foremost, let's make sure that our network policies allow clean rooms to access the Snowflake account. If you click through here, these are the IP addresses that you want to make sure are on the allow list. Don't get caught in the trap of an IP blocking issue. So make sure to check that up front. And then go ahead and complete the UI setup. So this step also configures what we call as a service user. This operates on behalf of the Samua app role in the UI to basically communicate on the back end with the native application. So let's get started and sign in to the clean room UI. Now we're ready to access the UI, and it's as simple as putting in your account identifier. If you're not familiar with your account identifier, you can just go to your account information, copy that account identifier here, and authenticate in. So I'll go ahead here and sign into the UI. So it's really as simple as that. So now you have a web app UI. It's Streamlit based. It's a point and click environment, and it allows you to complete the steps of the install. As I mentioned, we're going to create a service user here as this loads up. Okay, so we're going to finish the clean room UI setup by just doing a quick setup. We recommend just creating the service user here, DCR service user. You can rename this, but this is an important step just to remember the service name. You can also create a new user in Snowsite and then provide details. So you can do it manually, but we recommend that you just do the point and click easy setup here. And this will take just a minute. Standing up the Snowflake Data Clean Rooms UI only took a couple seconds. You can go ahead now and create an internal test with clean rooms end to end. That said, before we jump in, I do want to review some troubleshooting steps and also some best practices to ensure that you have a smooth install journey. As you can see from the quick tutorial, installing Snowflake Data Clean Rooms is very simple. If you follow the steps, if you follow the prompts, it should be very seamless. However, if you encounter an issue, we do have some troubleshooting installation steps here. One of the biggest hiccups could be that there's insufficient privileges. So make sure that, for example, your clean room UIs are allowed by your network policies. Make sure that the user has all the information, like valid first name, last name, etc. If any of the user information is missing, then you can add that specific information in. Make sure you're trying to install as the Snowflake account admin. You'll get hung up there if you don't. On the UI access, if you're installing this fresh, you'll be authenticating through Snowflake. So just make sure that if you follow your username and password there, you should have no problems. Service user setup, as you saw, was very straightforward, but if you do anything manual in the setup, just make sure you follow our prompts. And then any session level policies, make sure that those are adhering to the information that we provide in our documentation. So troubleshooting, pretty straightforward, but make sure to reference our documentation. If you have any questions, reach out to global support and file a ticket under clean rooms and data sharing, and it will be assigned to a specialist. In addition to the troubleshooting steps, a couple other best practices. Snowflake Data Clean Rooms is available in most regions, but just double check if you're in a specific international region that we're available there. In GA, we're not available in GovCloud or VPS deployments yet. Private Link is also not supported. If Private Link is a requirement, then I would use APIs versus the web app and UI. Either way, you need to be able to list the UI IPs that we include in our documentation. With regards to benefits of a clean room, if your users within your org are more technical, they're probably going to enjoy the APIs. It is a full technical-based environment that allows you to customize, automate on the back end. It's in Snowflake. It's a familiar environment. If you're working with more business users who maybe aren't as technical, then I would highly recommend working in the UI. One of the main best practices is don't tinker on the back end in Snowsight. There are hundreds of procedures running to stand up this clean room. Please do not tinker around and start adjusting things on the back end. That will probably lead to issues potentially on the front end or even issues with the APIs. So don't go in and drop anything, don't add anything, don't alter anything. For example, the DCR service user is given access via the Smooth app role. If you change that to account admin, that will break the front end UI. So just be careful about changing anything, updating it within Snowsight. The APIs and procedures are stood up the way that they should be to make sure that the product is working as it should. So with that, I appreciate your time today. Feel free to reach out to the DCR SE team with any questions you have. If you follow the documentation, you should have a seamless experience. If you encounter any issues, please reach out to my team, DCR SE, or global support. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next session.